Well, a little bit of gray sky, a little bit of light wind, walleye chop. It's like a good day to be on Leech Lake, huh?
Sure does. Be a great day.
It's everything you'd ask for. Let's see if it comes to fruition.
Walleye should be right up after the spawn, so they should be up shallow, pretty schooled up yet. The bigger fish might be just a hair deeper, but everything should be a shallow jig and minnow bite.
Kind of classic Leech Lake, and you guys had a brutal opener as far as weather.
Yeah.
I guess, you know, everybody did, you know, snow and wind and cold water temperatures. That's been kind of the story this spring.
Exactly, everything should be just starting to warm up now, so should be good fishing.
There he is. Oh yeah. Those are big smallmouths anywhere. We got her. Oh, yes. Wow. Ah, just a beautiful fish. This is incredible. Look at that beast. Got him?
Oh yeah. Getting silly now.
Keep on doing it. Oh, good fish. I don't ever get tired of catching fish like this. Wow, that is gorgeous.
Jason Mitchell Outdoors is brought to you by SCHEELS, CRESTLINER, North Dakota Tourism, Blackfish, Bismarck Motor Company, Salmo, Travel Manitoba, and Jason Mitchell Elite Series Fishing Rods.
You know, Leech Lake has been one of our favorite places to come over the years. I can't even tell you how many episodes that we filmed on Leech Lake over the years. And over all that time, the person I always filmed with was Al Moss. Now, Al Moss is a legend on Leech Lake, and I met Al Moss, goodness, it was probably almost 20 years ago at a Salmo promotional event up on Lake of the Woods. And obviously, I'd heard all about Al Moss. I mean, growing up, I mean, Al Moss was the man on Leech Lake. And what's amazing about Al Moss is, you know, obviously he has the fishing accolades, one of the first people inducted in the Minnesota Fishing Hall of Fame. But on top of that, he was just such a class act human being, one of my favorite people in the world. And so, fished with Al Moss many times over the years. It's always something I look forward to. Last couple of years now, Al hasn't been able to join us out on the boat, unfortunately, but this summer, we got his grandson Grant out. And it's been really neat to watch over the years. I remember when Grant was just a little kid, and just this little boy that was just infatuated, in love with fishing. And you just knew that Al Moss was doing everything that he could to get this little grandson of his into fishing and into hunting. And so they used to bring him out to North Dakota and hunt ducks with us. You know, it's just been fun to watch him grow up. Well, this little boy grew up to be a teenager, and you know, like a lot of these kids that grow up fishing, grow up on a place like Leech Lake where you get to fish all the time, you know, they grow up to be phenomenal anglers. And so it's just such a treat to take the next generation to go out with Al Moss's grandson. If I can't fish with Al, the next best thing I figured was his grandson. So pretty neat deal to get Al's grandson Grant out in the boat.
I started out young with Al, you know, he always wanted to get me on fish. That was the key, catch fish, catch fish, catch fish. He wanted to keep me entertained. And as I got older and older, you know, I'd go out for bigger fish. Maybe we'd go for walleyes or northerns or bass or something a little bit more advanced than panfish. And Al would just keep slowly bringing me up until maybe, all right, now we're gonna go try for muskies for a while. So we'd get out there and we'd fish muskies, and it'd be slow and I'd get bored, and he'd go back and we'd fish bass or crappies or something that has a little bit more action. We'd go for that, and his whole key doing this whole thing was to just get me into fishing. Al just always wanted me to get into the fishing and hunting just like he had as he was a kid, so that was his whole goal with all this.
There you go, there you go.
Feels good. Feels really good.
What do you got?
Big walleye.
All right. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Nice walleye. There we go.
All right.
Nice work. Here, I'll grab them for you here. Hook your prize here. Oh yeah.
Cool, that's a nice fish.
There, isn't that beauty?
Yeah.
Here, I'll hand them to you there. Gorgeous. Gorgeous.
Get that jig out of his head here.
Nice work. What are these fish? That fish just a chunk.
Yeah, he's fat, that's for sure. Get him right back in here. And there he goes.
All right.
Cool. Get a couple more.
I got the fish going here. Here he is. Oh yeah, this
How's
feels
he feel, Jason?
Yeah, it feels like a good one too.
All right. I'll get over there with that
That's
net.
fun. And who doesn't like catching them pitching a jig or dragging a jig? Look at there.
Oh yeah, she's a beauty.
Oh, isn't that fun? These are just gorgeous. They don't like the boat.
No.
All right. All
Nice
right.
work, Jason.
Awesome.
That's a good fish.
Yeah, that is a great fish. That wind's starting to pick up, which is kind of what you pray for. You know, farmers, they pray for rain. Walleye anglers on Leech Lake pray for wind. We're starting to get a little bit of chop, and that's going to make all the difference in the world, I think. Yeah, gorgeous. All right, there she goes. I don't think that fish was happy to see me, but I was happy to see her.
Jason Mitchell Outdoors is brought to you by these industry leaders.
CRESTLINER continues to redefine aluminum hull performance with engineering and design that used to be limited to fiberglass. An all-welded aluminum hull, engineered reverse chine, work-hardened sidewalls, full-length keel, and the brand new APX hull design sets CRESTLINER apart from the competition. Backed by their limited lifetime warranty, now is the time to rethink aluminum.
At SCHEELS, we speak your language.
You can't choose the weather, but you can choose outerwear that works. Technical apparel, rain gear, soft shells, sunwear, when you need to stay comfortable all day, choose Blackfish, because you can't choose the weather.
From the makers of the legendary Salmo Hornet, meet the new Salmo Freediver 9. Capable of reaching depths over 25 feet, the Freediver has set the new standard for deep diving walleye crankbaits.
See that free diver, that fish just mugged that bait.
Individually handcrafted, tank tested, and tuned by Salmo artisans, every Salmo lure produces perfect action every time. Catch more fish with the new Salmo Freediver 9.
You know, Leech Lake has traditionally been a fishery that fishes really well on the opener, and it fishes really well on the early half of the season. And obviously Leech Lake is a large body of water that's almost built of several small lakes connected together, in the sense that you have Agency Bay, you've got Sucker Bay, you've got the main lake, you've got Walker Bay. I mean, all these different parts of Leech Lake all have their own personality, their own nuances. And so each part of Leech Lake can fish strikingly different from the next bay that might only be a mile away. And that's what really fascinates me about Leech Lake, and something I really enjoy about Leech Lake. But when you have that much water and you have that many different patterns and almost like micro ecosystems within this fishery, you know, there's always something you can fall back on Leech Lake. And so obviously the classic pattern is the shallow flats, the sandgrass flats, where, you know, you're fishing the wind-blown shorelines and fishing these wind-blown flats. This year we did something a little bit different where we focused on offshore rock structure. And obviously the offshore rock structure is a general rule of thumb. It might be something where you can target bigger fish, whereas if you go out on some of the wind-blown flats and some of the shorelines, you can catch eater-sized fish. And so that's probably the biggest appeal about Leech Lake for me, is that you can pick your poison. You can fish a lot of different ways. There's a lot of different water you can fish, and you can catch big fish or you can target eaters. You know, you can fill your live well full of fish and release some fish with a photo. And so that's why Leech Lake is so special for walleye anglers. All right. Wow. I love that. Just feel that mono stretching. Oh, come here. This is a good one. Oh yeah, this is a big walleye,
nice
Grant.
walleye.
Oh, look at that.
That's a beauty.
Oh yeah.
In the net.
Yeah, go ahead and leave it right in the water there.
All right.
There. That is why we're here, huh?
That's a good fish.
Gorgeous. Get my hands on her here. Oh wow. Look at that. Hardly see that jig.
Choked it.
Yeah, that's just cool. Yeah, look at that. That is just Leech Lake gold right there.
So on Leech Lake, we got lots of flats, and then we got the deep basin of Walker Bay. And today we're just out in the main lake fishing these rock structures. There's all kinds of little glacial rock humps and stuff that were created when this lake formed. And these fish, they push up on this when the bait fish get kind of pushed in here with the wind. So there's a good fish.
All right.
That feels like a really good one.
All right, I'm coming. I'm coming.
Yeah.
See if you can hop up front here and slide up, or there we go here.
Not really moving this one. Oh yeah, there she's a really nice one.
That's what we came to Leech for. That's a gorgeous walleye. Bring her right on over here.
Don't like that boat.
They're strong, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
You know, these fish have been, at least the ones I've caught, they've been kind of biting sluggish. They're just hanging on. You almost have to feed them with the jig. All right. Awesome.
All right.
Oh, wow.
That's a nice fish right there.
That is a nice fish.
Big old head on her.
All right, here's a hook out here for you, bud.
So it just kind of was a sluggish bite, just kind of hanging on the end of the minnow, but you can see she really sucked it down there. Just kind of fed it back to her and let her take it for a second and put her right back in.
All right, good job, bud.
Yeah, that was a nice fish. Let's do it again. How about that?
Yeah, it sounds like a plan to me. You know, and it's kind of chilly, and that's kind of the storyline this year. Is we've had a few nice days, but we've had a lot of cold and wind, and obviously the opener, you know, is snow and just nasty weather. Water temperatures are just starting to creep up into the low 50s, but these fish they're biting, but they're sluggish. You know, so it's just been a slow, dragging jig presentation. But yeah, a lot of these bites, I mean, even with the jig, you almost have to feed them line for a little bit and then crack them. They're not jumping on it. You know, the thing about Leech Lake is that a spot will fire up and it'll cool off, and then 2 hours later the wind will change, or a day later the wind will be out of a different direction, and you know, spots just get hot and cold. And so don't live on memories. You know, if you caught them on a flat or caught them on a point the day before, the wind was pounding in there, the next day you go out there, you catch a few fish and it slows down, the wind dies, whatever. Don't be afraid to move. Don't be afraid to bounce around and check a lot of different spots. Check as many spots as you can. And a lot of times, you know, you'll see boats drifting in spots, and so you can kind of see if there's any activity happening, but you have to follow the wind on Leech Lake. I mean, when that wind changes, you need to change. Don't get hung up on memories. And if you can be flexible that way, you're going to catch a lot of fish on Leech Lake.
fish on.
All right, feel like a good one?
It feels nice, yeah.
All right.
Oh yeah, he's got some good head shakes.
All right, I'm coming. I'm coming.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that'd be an eater.
Yeah.
There we go.
It's a nice eater.
Did you want to throw a few in the live well today?
Yeah, we might as well. We've been catching some nice fish. It's a nice eater. Here on Leech Lake, you can have 4 walleyes with 1 over 20 inches. So this is about a nice 18 incher. So we'll throw them in the live well and have a nice meal. All right.
We've been going through some jigs out here. Basically, we're just fishing the edges of these boulders and rocks. We're not finding fish right on the top of the rock pile, but just off the edges. But we're hitting a lot of rock and just offshore, classic rock structure. There's quite a bit of this on Leech Lake. You know, and it's kind of surprising how many fish are out here this early in the year, especially big fish. A lot of times, I think as anglers, we have a tendency to think that fish are going to be along the shorelines or be up in the shallow water. Using shoreline structure, and that's definitely true, but there can also be some really cool offshore patterns, and in this case, you know, it seems like this is where we're finding some of the bigger fish. So it's the ANS laws now. These bait coolers like this are just worth their weight in gold. You don't have to worry about having bait in your live well or minnow bucket anymore. Spot tails have been almost impossible to get so far, so we've been using rainbows and some golden shiners, even some fatheads, and they're all catching fish. So you know, when you're fishing these jigs out here, especially on the sand flats, you know, where you have this mixture of sand and cara. A lot of times, you know, you're just dragging behind the boat or drifting with the wind and snapping the jigs. In these rocks, you know, you could do that, but I think you have to be a little bit more precise. So what we're doing is we're spot locking, and we're just getting pinned down right along the edge of these rocks and just fan casting around the boat. Give her, you know, depending on how many fish you catch, but you know, maybe you catch 1 or 2 fish, and then you just make just an incremental move. You know, we're just shift over maybe 50 feet, and we just creep along and just keep hitting spot lock. And what I find in these rocks and boulders is just a lot easier to work through them by casting. You can kind of feel where the rocks are, and you can also see a lot on your side imaging. And you're going to get snagged. That's just part of it. You're going to go through some jigs. So have plenty of jigs and have a hook file, because even if you get your jig back on a snag, you know, your hooks are going to be just beat up. And so, you know, keep running a file on those hooks, or just change the jig if you can't get a point on that hook anymore. But if you don't lose some tackle, you're not fishing it right. Just a perfect chop through here.
The jig and minnow bite will run into the start of June, and then we'll start switching over to the bottom bouncers and spinners or Lindy rig and a crawler. All in all, the jig and bite lasts through the whole month of May, and it'll pick back up in September when these fish start to feed on minnows again.
Oh, good fish, good fish.
Good fish?
Yep.
All right.
This is a big one.
Grab the net here.
This is a big one. Or bigger. The rod handle bent when I set the hook on that one. Come on up. I just want to see you. I promise I'll let you go. Look at this. Wow.
Really staying down there, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's acting like a walleye. Oh yeah.
Oh
I got a
yeah,
glimpse
big
of it.
walleye.
Oh yeah, look at here.
That's why you come to Leech Lake.
Yeah. Actually, he felt even bigger, but he's just fighting so hard. Oh, isn't that cool though? That's a beautiful fish. Oh, that's nothing
There
to
he is.
complain about.
All right.
Oh,
Oh, he's
yeah.
off.
Hey.
All right.
They all count though,
Yep.
right? Yeah, wow. That's a 28-inch walleye.
That's a walleye right there.
Oh, wow. That is gorgeous. That is gorgeous. And, you know, just post spawn, they haven't put on any weight yet. Fish are just starting to feed again. Wow. Now that's one of the bigger walleyes I've ever caught on Leech Lake, I think. That was a beautiful fish. Fun fish, I can tell you that. Never gets tired of doing that, that's for sure. Wow. Perfect walleye chop out here. Is excellent.
So if I came to Leech Lake at this time of year, the number one thing I'm going to look for is shallow water. All these fish are going to be staging out after the spawn about 3 to 8 feet.
For myself, I have a hard time catching fish below the boat. It's like the water is just clear enough for these fish to just push away from the boat. And so that being said, a lot of times we're either dragging long lining jigs behind the boat, or we're drifting where we're letting out some line and letting those jigs get away from the boat, or we're casting, we're fan casting. A lot of times we're using a stand-up jig. And a lot of times it's a light jig, you know, 1/8 ounce, 1/16 ounce, just something barely enough weight to get that shiner or that minnow down into 6, 7, 8 feet of water. It doesn't take much. And so a lot of times it's really a light jig, light line, kind of a finesse presentation. And a lot of times they're trying to get that presentation away from the boat. That's probably the nuts and bolts, the basics as far as catching fish on Leech Lake. I got one going here. There he is.
Good one there?
You know, I don't think it's small enough to eat. Maybe. Oh yeah, that'd be an eater. All right. Boy, these fish are just fighting hard. Thank you, sir. Yeah, just bring it right up to here. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Nice
yeah.
fish.
Look at that. That's a pretty one. Look at the marks on that fish. That's just a gorgeous colored walleye. Yeah, that's one for the live well. We're gonna keep a few fish tonight. We got to get Grandpa Al some fish, huh, Grant?
Yeah, that'd be good. He likes his fish, that's for sure. We'll have a nice meal for him.
Yeah. And 2's probably all he needs, but that'll be a great meal. You know, Leech Lake is really laid out as not just a fishing destination, but it's really a family-friendly place in the sense that you've got the community of Walker, you've got all these neat shops on the main street, you've got all these great restaurants, and it's really one of those places that's still left in Minnesota where there's a lot of resorts. You can come out here and there's fishing camps and there's really nice places where you can take a family. There's resorts with swimming pools, I mean, you name it, but there are some beautiful resorts on Leech Lake. And so it's a popular destination, it's a phenomenal fishery, but there's just so many things to do up here, so many things to offer that's really appealing to a wide range of people.